It was 2:13 in the morning when she stepped into the lobby soaked from the rain, holding a toddler wrapped in a towel and a trash bag that rattled with every step. Her older daughter stood beside her, wide-eyed and silent. No ID, no money, no booking, just desperation. The receptionist froze. Then a man stepped out from the back, the hotel manager. He looked at the woman, then looked again. "What did you say your name was?" he asked slowly. She told him. And in that instant, everything stopped. The hum of the lights, the tapping of the keyboard, his hands shaking. Earlier that evening, Alina Porter had been doing what she did every night, making dinner stretch further than it should, helping her 7-year-old daughter Emma with homework at their small kitchen table and rocking her 2-year-old son Marcus to sleep while humming off-key lullabies. The apartment wasn't much. A one-bedroom place with thin walls and a radiator that worked only when it felt like it. But it was theirs, and Alina had fought to keep it that way for 8 months since her husband left. She worked 2 jobs, cleaning offices in the early morning and stocking shelves at a grocery store in the evenings. The math never quite worked, but somehow she kept the lights on and food in the fridge. That Tuesday night felt different though. Marcus had been feverish all day, and Emma kept asking why they ate soup for dinner 3 nights in a row. Alina sat at the table after putting the kids to bed, surrounded by bills and past due notices, trying to figure out which one she could delay paying this month. The knock came at 9:47 p.m. Loud, official, uncompromising. Through the peephole, she saw 3 figures: her landlord, Mr. Chen, looking uncomfortable, and 2 city housing officers in reflective vests. Her stomach dropped. "Mrs. Porter," one of the officers said when she opened the door, "we're here to execute an eviction order. You were served notice 30 days ago." Alina's mind raced. The notice had come during Marcus's bout with pneumonia, when she'd missed 4 days of work and fell behind on everything. She'd called Mr. Chen, explained the situation, thought they'd worked something out. "My children are sleeping," she said quietly. "Could we please do this in the morning? I'll find somewhere to go. I just need—" "Ma'am, the order is effective immediately. You have 20 minutes to gather essential items." 20 minutes. 8 years of life in this apartment, and she had 20 minutes. Emma woke up first, startled by the voices and the bright hallway light streaming in. "Mommy, what's happening?" Alina knelt down, forcing her voice to stay calm. "We're going on an adventure, sweetheart. We're going to stay somewhere else tonight." She woke Marcus as gently as she could, wrapping him in the warmest blanket they owned. Into a trash bag went clothes, diapers, Emma's favorite book, and what little food they had. The officers waited by the door, checking their watches. By 10:15 p.m., they were standing on the sidewalk in the October drizzle. Alina held Marcus against her chest while Emma pressed close to her side, both children too shocked to cry. The next 3 hours were a blur of closed doors and apologetic voices. Alina's first call was to the women's shelter downtown. "We're at capacity," the intake coordinator explained. "Try calling back tomorrow morning, but I can't make any promises." The Family Crisis Center had a waiting list. The Salvation Army had been flooded with people displaced by recent apartment fires. Even the emergency overnight shelter at the community center was full. Alina tried calling her sister in Portland, but the number had been disconnected. Her mother lived in a senior facility that didn't allow children. The few friends she'd managed to keep while working 2 jobs either didn't answer their phones or lived in situations that couldn't accommodate 3 extra people. As the rain picked up, she made a decision she'd never thought she'd have to make: hotels. The first place she tried was a budget motel near the highway. The night clerk, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes, looked genuinely sorry when she explained that they needed a valid ID and a credit card to hold the room, even if Alina paid cash up front. "I understand your situation," the woman said quietly, "but it's corporate policy. I could lose my job." The second hotel had the same requirements. By the time they reached the third place, a mid-range business hotel downtown, Marcus was crying from hunger and exhaustion, and Emma had gone completely silent, which worried Alina more than tears would have. The lobby of the Grandview Hotel was warm and softly lit, with comfortable chairs and the kind of carpet that absorbed sound. It felt like stepping into a different world. The night clerk, A young man who couldn't have been older than 25 looked up as they entered. "Can I help you?" Alina approached the desk, acutely aware of how they must look: soaked clothing, a crying toddler, a trash bag full of their belongings. "I need a room for the night," she said. "I can pay cash, but I don't have a credit card or proper identification with me right now." The clerk's expression shifted from professional courtesy to uncomfortable sympathy. "I'm really sorry, ma'am, but our policy requires..." That's when Daniel Martinez emerged from the back office. Daniel had been reviewing the week's occupancy reports when he heard voices in the lobby. As the night manager, he was used to handling unusual situations: locked out guests, medical emergencies, the occasional person seeking shelter from more than just the weather. But when he stepped into the lobby and saw the woman at the desk, something made him pause. She was in her early 30s, with dark hair plastered to her head from the rain. She held a toddler who was fussing quietly, while a school-age girl stood pressed against her side. The woman's face was exhausted but determined, the kind of tired that comes from fighting too many battles for too long. Something about her was familiar. "What did you say your name was?" he asked, stepping closer to the front desk. "Alina Porter," she replied, shifting the toddler to her other arm. The name hit him like a physical force. Daniel's hand started to shake slightly, and he had to grip the edge of the counter to steady himself. Alina Porter, the woman who had changed the trajectory of his entire life 12 years ago, and who probably didn't even remember him. "I'll be right back," he said quietly, then turned and walked into his office. Daniel had kept the letter all these years, filed away in a desk drawer he rarely opened. It was handwritten on school letterhead, slightly faded but still legible. "To whom it may concern, I am writing to recommend Daniel Martinez for employment with your organization. During his volunteer work in our summer meal program, Daniel demonstrated exceptional reliability, kindness toward the children, and a genuine desire to help. He may not have formal experience in hospitality, but he has something more valuable: character. He deserves a chance to prove himself. Sincerely, Alina Porter, food service supervisor." He'd been 19 then, living in his car and desperate for steady work. That letter, written by someone who barely knew him, who had no obligation to help him, had gotten him his first real job. The job that led to this job. The job that had given him a career, stability, and purpose. Now she was standing in his lobby, just as desperate as he had been all those years ago. When Daniel returned to the front desk, he was carrying a keycard. "Room 214, he said to his clerk. "No charge." Both Alina and the clerk stared at him. "Sir, I explained that she doesn't have..." "No charge," Daniel repeated firmly, "and no questions." Alina looked at Daniel with confusion and overwhelming gratitude. "I don't understand. Why are you helping me?" Daniel studied her face for a moment. She really didn't remember him, and that was okay. It had been 12 years, and he'd just been one of many kids who'd passed through that summer program. "Get some rest," he said simply. "We'll talk in the morning." Room 214 was on the second floor, with 2 double beds, a working heater, and a bathroom with hot water and clean towels. For the first time in hours, Alina allowed herself to breathe. She got the children settled, Marcus in one bed, Emma in the other. Emma was still quiet, processing the upheaval of their evening, but she managed to brush her teeth and put on clean pajamas from their bag. "Mama," she whispered as Alina tucked her in, "are we going to be okay?" Alina smoothed her daughter's hair and tried to project confidence she didn't feel. "Yes, sweetheart, we're going to figure this out." That night, while her children slept peacefully for the first time in weeks, Alina sat in the chair by the window and allowed herself to fall apart quietly. Not from despair, though, she felt plenty of that, but from the overwhelming relief of not having to be strong for a few hours. Over the next several days, small kindnesses appeared without explanation. Their stay was extended without discussion of payment. Fresh towels appeared with folded 20s tucked inside. Breakfast arrived at their door each morning with extra portions for the children. Daniel never asked for thanks or recognition. He simply ensured they had what they needed while working behind the scenes to find longer-term solutions. He contacted a lawyer he knew who worked with housing issues, describing Alina as a family friend who needed help navigating the eviction process. He called the local housing authority and advocated for emergency assistance. He even reached out to a nonprofit he supported financially, asking them to prioritize a referral he was sending their way. On Thursday morning, he knocked on Alina's door with something she hadn't expected, a job offer. "We're short-staffed at the front desk," Daniel explained, trying to make it sound casual. "You're clearly organized, good with people, and you handle stress well. The position comes with employee housing assistance. There's a small apartment above the dry cleaner next door that the hotel rents for staff members." Alina stared at him. "You're offering me a job? You don't even know me." "I know enough," Daniel said. "I know you've kept 2 children safe and cared for under impossible circumstances. I know you're resourceful and determined. That's exactly what we need here." The apartment above the dry cleaner wasn't luxurious, but it was clean, affordable, and most importantly, stable. Emma could enroll in the nearby elementary school, and Alina could work while knowing her children were safe. The job itself was challenging but rewarding. Alina discovered she had a natural talent for hospitality, anticipating guests' needs, solving problems quickly, making people feel welcome. Within weeks, she was handling situations that would have stumped more experienced staff members. Daniel watched her success with quiet satisfaction. He'd made the right choice, not just for her but for the hotel. Guest satisfaction scores improved during her shifts, and she brought a warmth to the front desk that hadn't been there before. But Alina still didn't know why he'd helped her. She'd asked a few times, but Daniel always deflected with vague answers about helping people in need or the hotel's commitment to community service. The truth was, he wasn't ready to tell her yet. The story felt too personal, too weighted with gratitude that might make her uncomfortable. She was building a new life, and he didn't want her to feel indebted to him. 8 months later, Daniel made an announcement that surprised everyone, including Alina. He'd been accepted into a graduate program in nonprofit management and would be leaving to start a transitional housing organization, the kind of place that would help people like Alina had been, people who fell through the cracks of traditional social services. "I've been planning this for years," he told the staff. "It's time to make it happen." What he didn't announce immediately was his recommendation for his replacement. On his last day, Daniel called Alina into his office. On the desk was a folder containing hotel management protocols, vendor contacts, and administrative passwords. "I'm recommending you for the assistant manager position," he said, "with the option to move into full management after 6 months of training." Alina was speechless. "Daniel, I've only been here 8 months. I don't have experience in—" "You have something better than experience?" he interrupted. "You understand what it means to need help, and you remember what it feels like to receive it. That makes you the right person to run a place where people come when they need shelter." Then, finally, he told her the truth. He pulled out the faded letter she'd written 12 years ago, when he was just another struggling kid who'd volunteered at her summer meal program. He explained how that letter had gotten him his first job, how it had started the career that led him to this moment. "You probably don't remember me," he said. "I was just one of many volunteers that summer, but you took the time to see something in me worth recommending. You gave me a chance when I desperately needed one." Alina studied the letter, then looked at Daniel's face, trying to reconcile the confident hotel manager with the memory of a shy 19-year-old who'd helped serve lunch to children. "I do remember you," she said slowly. "You were so careful with the younger kids, always made sure everyone got enough to eat. You stayed late to help clean up without being asked." "That letter changed my life," Daniel said. "And when I saw you in the lobby that night, I knew I had a chance to return the favor." "You didn't owe me anything," Alina protested. "Maybe not," Daniel agreed. "But kindness isn't about debt. It's about recognizing when you have the power to change someone's trajectory and choosing to use it." 6 months later, Alina Porter stood behind the front desk of the Grandview Hotel, wearing the same type of professional blazer Daniel used to wear. Emma sat in the corner doing homework, and Marcus played quietly with toy cars near the check-in computer. A young woman approached the desk, nervous and underdressed, clutching a rumpled resume. She was probably 22, with the kind of desperate hope in her eyes that Alina recognized immediately. "I'm here about the housekeeping position," the young woman said. "I know I don't have much experience, but I'm a hard worker, and I really need this job." Alina smiled and poured her a cup of coffee from the pot she now kept behind the desk, just as Daniel used to do. "Tell me about yourself," she said, "and don't worry about the experience part. Sometimes what matters most is who you are, not what you've done." Above the desk, framed next to the Employee of the Month photos, hung a child's drawing Emma had made, a simple sketch of their family standing in front of the hotel, with the words, "Home is where people help each other," written in careful 7-year-old handwriting. Daniel's transitional housing program opened the following year. Alina attended the ribbon-cutting ceremony, bringing Emma and Marcus to see the place their former manager had built with the same quiet determination he'd shown in helping them. As they toured the facility clean rooms, a communal kitchen, childcare services, and job training programs, Emma tugged on her mother's sleeve. "Mama, this looks like our hotel." Alina smiled, understanding what her daughter meant. It wasn't about the physical resemblance. It was about the feeling of safety, of dignity, of being seen as worthy of help. "Yes, sweetheart," she said. "It's exactly like our hotel. Sometimes the people we help forget us. But the ones we help become the people we never forget, and more importantly, they become the people who never forget to help others."